How did your first experience calling the plays go for you? What did you like about what you did? What would you do better?
I thought it went well. I thought the communication was great. I thought the just getting in and out of the huddle and having a tempo to the offense, getting the ground game running. As far as performance and getting better, there's always things that you can get better at. It's not one specific. There's a couple areas that I critique myself in a few different situations. So just practicing throughout the week of practice, continuing to meet with our position coaches and Russell, just getting on the same page with that as well. But for the most part, I thought it went well.
Could you have a couple of design run plays from Russell? How important is that to have him moving through the game and as part of the game?
Yeah, it's really hard to account for a quarterback run. The defense is typically structured to stop everybody except for him, and so it's an extra hat you're gaining. With the use of his legs, it's a difference maker. So he really encouraged the idea and embraced it when I brought it to him, and it worked out well for us last game. But those are the things you got to throw in there mix-wise for the defense to kind of account for and play off of.
Probably in 6-7 years. Is it like riding a bike? Were you, in your own head leading it, like, okay, I'm going to do this, or how was it?
Yeah, it's hard to explain because once you get into it, you find a rhythm, and it's just something that's ingrained in you, and you're always thinking the next play or how to adjust, or how the defense is taking away certain plays or personnelings and how they're adjusting as well. So it's a chess match up there, and you're trying to stay one step ahead of the defense. And it was a really good experience, and good to see that everybody was on the same page and playing fast and physical.
On the broadcast, it showed you guys getting pretty excited in the booth.
Yeah.
On the scores and whatnot. Do you personally feel last week and this week kind of do it as like a chance of vindication for this offense, and try and truly show what you and Russ in the game can do?
Yeah, you got to celebrate all the victories. And you got to stay level-headed throughout the whole process of everything as well. But you always want to celebrate the good. And throughout this season, you try to hone in on the good, and it was minimal. And when those things happen in situations, especially against the Chiefs, emotion takes over. It's an emotional game played by a bunch of men that love this game, and you got to have some sort of knack and just physicality and have an understanding of what it takes to play this game. And it was exciting to see those guys celebrate, and that's what you're looking for. I talked about it last week, just putting a smile on these guys' faces. It's a reward for all the hard work they've done. And to have that, the celebrations on the sideline and on the field, it's just carrying over in the box.
Albert reintroduced the offense this past week. What did you see from him? What do you think he can continue to do to build on what he was able to accomplish within the offensive structure?
Yeah, Albert did a really good job of stretching the field for us. He had the big touchdown for us. He's a bigger type receiver. Very similar body type and position as Dulcich. So, he's a guy that you can put out there in a position where he's a receiver, and then they have to account for him. And if they don't, they just like they did in the red zone. He can create explosive plays and touchdowns. So. I'm excited to see his role expand this week and just work along with the other tight ends, and he fit in pretty well last game.
Why wasn't he playing?
You sit there and you ask those questions, and it really comes down to the special teams unit and the numbering system, but it also you look at the body types. You got the Beck, who's the fullback type body. You got Tomlinson, who's the Y body, and then you typically have that dual threat type body. So when it comes down to it, when Dulcich was healthy, he was a better performance on the field itself and in the meeting, so that's why he ended up getting the job.
It sounds like there's a chance you might face two different lineups depending on the game before you, Ravens and Bengals. Anything in mind, like as far as talking to your team, not to worry about it, or any adjustments you might make depending on whether you see Bosa, CJ?
Yeah, we're going in this thing to win it. We're preparing for those guys to start. And if they don't, the plan will stay the same and how we go about things. So our mindset is just to win this game, and that's the number one thing we need to do.
Jerry was mentioning how one thing about having so many injuries is that you've had to play guys and learn more about players down the depth chart. So on the offensive side, who are some players that you've seen this year that have really kind of caught your eye when forced into larger roles than you expected?
You look at you can start you can start at any position, but if you look at the running back position itself, you got, Latavius stepping in, earlier in the season and kind of taking over the leadership role and the bell cow role. And then you got Chase, who just, stepped in mid-season, and he's able to be a game changer in those situations. He caught the great third down conversion right there. He was a one-on-one matchup with the linebacker. He's a game changer. You go to the offensive line. Now that's a group that's been interchangeable and rotating chairs, but Quinn, he's really stepped up at right guard. He's done a great job. He's a young cat. Didn't realize how young he was until he told me the other day when it was his birthday. But he's a guy that's continuing to develop every single day. And you got guys like that, like Billy Turner, who take him under his wing and try to teach him how to be a good pro and do the little things right. And I'm just proud of those guys. In the receiver room, Brandon Johnson is a guy that we talked about in camp that did a really good job throughout the whole process, stuck with it, was injured, came back, was overcoming adversity, was able to step up for us in certain games and fill that void. So, you can look around the whole offense, and everybody had to step up in some way or another, not only the position players or the players themselves, but the position coaches and us. So it's been a year of adversity, but, those guys have really just taken charge of their play.
Did Quinn Bailey kind of start as a swing tackle last week, and he wound up playing left guard? And how did he do?
He's a guy that can be a bounce tackle, or he can play interior. So he gets reps both the tackle position and the guard position. And he seemed like he was at home at left guard for that game. He was matched up on 95 a few times and held his own. So he had a great week of practice last week. Jerry called him out in a walkthrough as far as just as being a technician and walkthrough, and he ended up carrying over to the game.
This is your seventh year in the NFL on the offensive side of the ball. In your opinion, what makes a good quarterback room? And not a quarterback individually, but what makes a good quarterback room in your mind?
Supporting each other, quizzing each other, holding each other accountable, and being good teachers and leaders, not only in that room but outside the room. I was with Matt Ryan and Matt Saab, and you talk about two guys that quizzed each other every single day and challenged each other. That's the way it should be. Thoughts and ideas get bounced off each other, and I think that room has done a really good job.
Coach, thank you.
Thanks, guys.